Hi and welcome to Hihu. In this particular video we are taking a look back at Fable, an action role-playing game set in your typical fantasy world. But when compared to modern mechanics, level design and story, how does this game hold up 12 years on? Now, I played this game when it first came out as a 14-year-old, and I remember all the hype that was in the magazines, and the reception that followed from the promises that had been made. But regardless, 14-year-old me loved this game, so coming back to it 12 years later, I was a little bit worried to how this game has aged. Now, before I go into the details of how this game operates and how it stands up today, I'm gonna have to say that I didn't really love playing this, nor did I hate it. I just kind of played it. It literally did nothing for me, even in a sense of nostalgia. There's a lot of things wrong with this game that weren't exactly wrong when this game first came out, but it clearly shows now, and that's the point of this review. It's to show you what holds up and what doesn't, and you can judge the game if it's worth playing 12 years after its release. It's no longer 2004. Things have changed. The game starts off to what is an incredibly large intro tutorial and goes for around an hour. Yep, an hour to introduce you to the combat mechanics as well as the morality system. That is all very basic. You start off as a boy whose family's being killed by a bunch of bandits, and the majority of the tutorial takes place on the grounds of the Heroes Guild. You are a new recruit, and the game shows your character aging as he gains these skills and progresses through the school. Eventually, you are given free reign to what is an open, yet incredibly linear world, and you are given quests to complete for loot and gold. The premise here is very straightforward, like most fantasy RPGs. The plot of the game follows your hero as he finds out that not all of his family was killed during that bandit raid, and eventually ties into a much sinister plot as to why that raid took place, and reaping revenge to stop the people responsible. The first thing though that I found really jarring and rather insulting was how patronizing this game actually is. I know it's not intentionally trying to be that way, but there is so much hand-holding. So much. The game talks to you like as if you're a kid that doesn't pay attention, and the script is so bland and basic, it plays out like a kid's game. The plot isn't that bad, it's just what they did with the script, but even kids games are more challenging than this. Now, I know this isn't a kids game, but I'd like to compare it to the Zelda series. The only difference is that the Zelda games don't have a morality system or really role-playing elements, but I'll go into why that doesn't matter too much in a second. The Zelda series have a similar melee and casting system to that of Fable, and whilst not in depth in terms of the ability to mix it up, the reason why I think Zelda games are smarter than Fable is because they embrace their environment more and allow the player to use their brain both in and out of combat. Fable just kind of held my hand, and I just was kind of wishing I was playing Zelda instead. I mean, in Fable, if I wanted to get to a treasure chest, most of the time I'd have to simply hack down some meaningless shrubs that were obstructing the path. No puzzle to actually get there. It really lacks any brain power to play this game, and shows how lazy the level design actually is. When your health is low, your guildmaster will say, "Your health is low, do you have any potions?" Like, fuck man, if I lose health in a Zelda game, a heart gets depleted. That's it, it doesn't go telling me what to do. This is the type of hand-holding I'm talking about that Fable gives. Now, the reason why I said that the role-playing elements didn't matter so much was because of how stupid it was. I mean, the game works on a very basic notion of what is good and bad. I'm not talking about if I should shoot Mordin in the back to prevent the genophage from being killed or not. For one example, I'm talking purely about the simple choice to join bandits in a raid or to fight them off. It's very black and white, and there's no middle ground or major recurring consequences for your choices. The game doesn't have a conversation mechanic like most role-playing games do either. I mean, you have a button for flirt, fart, flex, laugh, evil laugh, burp. It's all very childlike. The protagonist is silent, and in all of the cutscenes just kind of stands there emotionless with his mouth open like as if he's having a mild brain bleed. Having a silent protagonist in a role-playing game without dialogue options really takes a major role-playing aspect away from this game. Aside from the combat, which is the game's strongest point, it feels like the game was created by a man who lives an ordinary, boring life, who doesn't really have much of an imagination. But then one day he left his shitty desk job because he thought, hey, that would be really cool, but neglected to pay attention or do any research on the role-playing genre or video games in general. Looking back now, it truly stands out that this game was made by this type of person. It's so patronizingly stupid. Looking at fantasy role-playing games, let's take The Witcher for example. I can travel the lands, take quests as I like. I get to pick what I want to say. What I say might have moral effects of how that quest or story kind of plays out. You get to hunt your enemy, adding, I guess, an environmental puzzle aspect to it all. It's a solid role-playing game which gives you an open world just to lose yourself in. Fable is essentially your dumbed-down Witcher. I mean, it's perfect for kids, but I wouldn't suggest this game to an adult who has never played it before. Like I previously stated, the combat isn't too bad, however I found it too easy too quickly. I soon learnt that area of effect spells were overpowered and I found myself using them to get by most rooms of enemies. I often found myself rolling past all the enemies to proceed to the next area, and I could easily complete a quest by avoiding everyone and killing maybe one or two dudes. The level design is very bland and incredibly linear. However, there is one thing I really did like, and I remember enjoying them when I was a kid, and that was the demon doors. Each door has a requirement to enter, and inside was usually unique weapons and armor. This did add some form of a challenge to the game, but it's all fairly secondary, and plays a lot into the later half of the game as your abilities have progressed more. Now, I know I've been bitching, but this game isn't that bad. It's just not that great, and it's too easy for its own good. I feel like they realized that certain aspects of role-playing games was too hard to get into, and there was a lot of micromanagement. So what they did was they kind of went that bit further to streamline this product, and I get that there are fans out there, like some of you. I also really appreciated this game as a kid, but now replaying it, I can suggest not touching it at all and just keep that level of nostalgia. Now, there are two versions of the game. There's the original, and then there's the Anniversary HD remake. The original goes for around $10, and the Anniversary edition goes for $30. The HD isn't that big of an improvement. I mean, you're still paying $30 for loading screen after loading screen. They couldn't even be bothered to open up the world continuously. Just don't buy the remake. It's such a money grab. I'm gonna leave this one up to you. Personally, just cherish the memories you have of this game. If you haven't played it, try Zelda, try Lego Lord of the Rings. And if you want some form of RPG experience, try The Witcher or the Elder Scrolls games. What are your thoughts? Have you recently gone back to play this game and realized it's patronizingly easy, or did you actually enjoy it playing it all these years on? What are your thoughts on old mate Peter and his inability to follow through with his promises? Do you remember what promises he made for Fable? If you've liked what you've seen here and you want to see more, hit the like and subscribe button. This is Shawnee Maurice from Hihu. Thanks for watching.